All right. Very special guest today. Of course, every guest that joins us here on ZASLOW Show 2.0 is brought to us by Johnny Cuba. Grab yourself a Johnny. Get yourself a six-pack right now. It's Sedano's, a Presidente, a Winn-Dixie. We're talking European roots of the Caribbean soul. Grab yourself a Johnny. Johnny Cuba. Stay tranquilo. And, of course, looking very tranquilo right now is Dan LeBatard. We have another Moss event coming up this Saturday night in Wynwood. Dan, how about this? We get to see each other now. I have you on the program. This is a nice change of pace. This is how I do it. This is how I talk to people now. Hello.
It is an annual tradition, or before the pandemic was an annual tradition of Zaslow bumming me up for 2 VIP tickets because he wants to make sure that he is a very special guest. You introduced me as a special guest, and I got to tell you honestly, the sound of your voice, you didn't make it feel special enough, but on Saturday night, you will feel like a very special guest when you do the what has become an annual rite pre-pandemic of Zaslow bumming the free VIP tickets.
I need to, because I remember the last Moss event, which was it a few years ago? Like, have you not done one since COVID? Am I remembering correctly?
Well, we did a little thing after COVID. We did a smaller one, but this is that was sort of like 4.5. The big ones we've done have been, month-long planning things. This
there was one I remember. I think maybe the last one I went to. That was a very long line outside the building. I gotta walk up front and say, listen, I think I'm on the list. Let's go. That's a long line, Dan. A lot of people are coming out.
Well, this one's going to be longer because this is the biggest one we've thrown. This one's got a lot of resources behind it because we're doing the dual celebration of these things are always supposed to be thank you, South Florida. Thank you, Miami. For making us something that is allowed to do all of this, something that is about creative and artistic freedom away from Disney, away from ESPN. And we started a new business. And in starting the new business, which the idea of with Zaslow is, and you know how difficult this business is, how dirty this business is, I want to make sure that these people in South Florida who have worked with us the entire time as the industry shrivels up, that there are jobs here in South Florida for them so they don't have to move or leave anywhere. And Miami has made all of that possible by supporting the thing that we do. So I tell everybody all the time, these are not things that we do to make money. We are trying to throw a big party that just expresses our gratitude.
So where is the money going, though? These are not free tickets that people are paying for. Where are we sending the money?
Well, it goes there. We've got charitable endeavors involved with it. Ron McGill's Conservation Endowment and the Joe DiMaggio's Children Hospital, because that one's very personal to us because Roy and his wife, Anid, lost a baby, Aria Hope, after 6 days. And those 6 days, they got great care there. So there's going to be the charitable element. And then the money gets thrown back into what it costs to throw the party, because it's a pretty substantive party with a good amount of expense, a good amount of surprises, and a lot of great music that is, it's high class music. It's very good music from not just, we got G Love and we've got Patrick and the Swayzes. These are bands that are known around the country and are fun bands. And then Mike Ryan, the former executive producer of our show, is going to DJ for an hour. And it's a really cool night, Zaslow, because it's hard to explain to people this thing. I know we came up with it as 790 back in the glory days of sports radio, but it's not sports radio anymore. What it is this intimate thing that exists in your head, different really from most other connection points that audiences have with entertainment, in that if you're in a shitty job, or you're somebody who's physically running, or you need life to go by a little bit faster, and you want company, we're the people who exist in your head. You feel like you know us a little bit. And at this thing, the interaction for those people who believe in this thing that way, it's sort of like hanging out with the Disney characters at the amusement park, because we're just somebody it feels like we're with you all the time. If you're someone who listens like our audience does, right? The value of our audience it's a great big audience, but the value of our audience is that it's hugely weird in how long it spends listening. Like you're talking about, we put out a lot of content every day, and much of it gets gobbled up. And so when we're with you that long, and then you get to be with us and party with us, it can be a memorable thing.
I feel like things are going great for Meadowlark Media. I feel like things are going really well for you guys, but you probably feel that you're still like in the infancy stages, right?
Yeah, we just started. It seems like it was 2 years ago or less than 2 years ago, but it's been a ton of work, a ton of stuff that was unexpected. I'm not an entrepreneur. That's not the part of my brain that I use or have ever used. So this is a different skill set on starting a business, but we want to make, we want to make movies, and we want to do cool things that are beyond, we want to grow. We want to grow, be better at the stuff that we're doing, more diversified stuff. Although I'm not sure how much Stugotz wants to grow. I think he's just fine going into the studio and saying, when I say Antetokounmpo, Greek freak, Dan, and that's it, cashing the checks.
Will he be there on Saturday nights?
Who knows? I mean, you don't know if he's going to be there or not. He says he's going to be there, but his words mean nothing. As you know, the word they're in the history of. I defy you in the history of South Florida media entertainment to tell me give me a name of somebody whose words mean less, have less value than Stugotz.
I will tell you, I had that experience. Okay, this is going back like at least 10 years ago, and you guys are still at 790. All right, I'm probably doing evenings at that point. I think it was more than 10 years ago. And Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam was doing a solo theater tour. He was playing at the Broward Center for Performing Arts, and it's like, holy shit. I'm obviously going to see Eddie Vedder in a small little venue. My wife and I, we are going. And Stugotz says, listen, Zaslow, I know the guy who runs the theater. I'm going to get us the tickets. We're going to sit right up close. And I'm like, are you sure? Because this is like, when it comes to seeing Pearl Jam, not only am I going, but I'm going to make sure I'm sitting up front. Okay. It's not just enough for me to go. Nah, buddy, I got you covered. I'm so nervous. Okay, but you understand, like, there's not a last minute thing where, oh, it didn't come through, or like, this needs to happen. Otherwise, our relationship is severed forever. We will not recover from this. And he swore up and down. And I was nervous until the night. We got there, and I will tell you, the four of us, me, my wife, Stugotz, Abby, we were fifth row dead center. I was never more nervous. Our relationship would have been severed forever if he did not come through that night. There would have been no recovering from it.
You really threatened him. You checkmated him. You boxed him in. If this is a lie, the consequences are so severe that
there's no coming back.
The love that I have for you will be extinguished on the spot.
Yep.
And you managed you found the one way to get Stugotz to finish something and to stay true to his word.
I threatened him with friendship, and he came through. So we're still friends. It all worked out. How do people get tickets for Moss? Are there still tickets?
Yes, LeBatard.com is where you go. I don't think you can get domino tournament tickets, and I don't think you can get VIP tickets anymore, but we've got general admission, and we promise with all of these things, we always promise that you will get more than what it is that you're paying for. The general admission ticket is $40. I don't think that is an amount of money that you can pay to see G-Love anywhere in America. I don't think that you can't, in fact, get Ron McGill to do his Sex and the Animals presentation show from Zoom Miami for that amount of money. So we are making sure that the whole thing is affordable for people. And we, of course, want South Florida turnout because I mean, it's no lies. As though you've had an intimate look at everything it is that our show has done over the last almost 20 years. This is the area that birthed us. This is the area that supported us before anyone else. This is the area that helped us become, the thing that has millions of downloads a month as as one of America's most popular podcasts.
Do you miss anything about your
No,
days?
no,
Nothing, not a
no,
single thing.
no. I mean, the people, obviously, all our friends over there, many of them will be at Moz, by the way, all our friends from ESPN, but not unlike you, I appreciate the fact that I don't have to answer to anybody other than myself anymore. It's something that I've always aspired to, the way that I do the job, but I probably don't need to explain to you or Miami as a place that is built on so many different kinds of cultures, that freedom was an extraordinarily important thing to me, creative freedom, and this is a celebration of that. You know, we don't answer to anybody but ourselves and our customers.
Is there anyone that you've been trying to get on your show? You get great guests, of course. Is there anyone you guys have been efforting? Maybe it's been over like years and you just haven't been able to nail them down. Like who's out there that, and I'm not talking like it's got to be someone realistic. Like, you know, you could say, hey, I want Barack Obama on the show. That's really difficult. Like, who's someone that you think is like realistic and you just haven't been able to nail down?
Letterman is somebody I have always wanted to talk to. I like just creative people who shaped portions of how it is that I want to aspire to do this, or what I want the aesthetic feel of something to be. With him, he was somebody who provided discovery for me, like the feeling of awe of seeing somebody on television go after his employer in his nightly monologue and just do goofy things because he could do goofy things, because why wouldn't you do goofy things if you have the power to do stuff that is different than others? Why would you get to a place that has power and expression and do it the way that it's always been done, copying somebody else? So he is somebody I've always wanted to talk to. Chappelle is another one that I've always wanted to talk to.
Who is someone that you always looked forward to having on the show? You had them on the show and you were severely disappointed.
Severely disappointed. Let me think for a minute. All I'm thinking of is all of the people over the years who have simply hung up on our show, sometimes with an old-fashioned landline, the way that Joan Rivers did.
So you could hear the click, you know, because on cell phones you're not getting the effect.
I could hear the click, but in the case of Joan Rivers, right, she compared poker player Dale Brunson to Hitler. And I said, that is very strong, Joan. And she's like, I can do that. And I'm like, I'm just saying it's a very strong thing. And she said, goodbye. And then she hung up on me. She did do me the courtesy of saying goodbye in a very nice old lady way.
She's doing the I'm Jewish, so I'm allowed to make that comparison.
I mean, but I just did, and all I said, my follow-up was just, that seems very strong. And she says, well, I can say that. I'm like, yeah, but it's still very strong. It doesn't seem necessary to go after champion poker player Doyle Brunson that way.
Who are the Dolphins winning the Super Bowl, Dan?
Ever?
No, this year. This year, a couple of games ago, so I think it was after, I don't know, one of the shit teams that they beat during the 5-game win streak. And for the first time in my life, because, you know, texting didn't become a thing until, I don't know, like 2004 or 2005, something like that. So for the first, I mean, I didn't get a cell phone until the year 2000. And texting wasn't a thing when you first had the flip phones, you know? For the first time in my life, after, I don't remember which game it was, I texted one of my friends and I just wrote to him, question mark at the end, Dolphins winning the Super Bowl. And that's the first time in my life I've ever sent that text message.
I don't believe that they are the best team in football. I don't think it's any indictment of them to not think they're going to win the Super Bowl, because winning the Super Bowl is really hard. It suffices to me to be the most exciting, interesting, competent team the Dolphins have had this century. This century began with a blacked out Dolphin playoff game because they couldn't sell out Lamar Smith against Peyton Manning in the Colts at home.
Great win.
The team has been uninteresting since then. They've been a regional team. They have given up everything that Marino and Shula built, and this is the first season that I went into with any hope whatsoever about they're going to be competent, and they've exceeded my every expectation. They're great at offense. And I just can't believe I'm saying it because I got so used to 19-17 games or just losses because they didn't play interesting football. They were what the Carolina Panthers are now, what the Steelers are now, what the Broncos are now. Some form of, I don't want to watch that on Sunday. This is a team that people want to watch just because nationally, even if you're not a Dolphin fan, because holy shit, it's fun to watch.
I've been talking about this all week. I've gone back and I've looked at clips, that have been put together of the overthrows, the underthrows, Tua missing guys. I've been talking about this all week. The 49ers defense is awesome. I don't think they had a single thing to do with what Tua, didn't accomplish on Sunday. I put it all on. Now, I love Tua. But I don't think the Niners had a single thing to do with the Dolphins losing that game. I think it's one of those. I blame the Dolphins for not winning more than I credit the 49ers.
I wouldn't do that, even though I understand why you're doing that, because that was a game, the only one of the season, where I have thought to myself, that is the expected result. They're going to go to San Francisco and lose is the expected result, whether it's the backup quarterback or Garoppolo, because that team is very good at defense. And I guess the place that I would end up with you on that would be an agreement, it wouldn't necessarily just be the play of Tua, would be when you ask me if they're going to win the Super Bowl. I can't make the assessment because I don't know how injured they're going to be. It makes a giant difference, as whether he was missing the throws or not. You have seen over the last 2 months of playing against teams that aren't as good at defense as San Francisco, that don't have, a Bosa that's going to have 3 sacks. You saw that Tua, much different than last year, had so much time to sit back there and go through his progressions very quickly. I did not expect him to have that time on Sunday, and I'm unsurprised by that result. And I don't think that result is any kind of indictment because, and I mentioned injury again, when the 49ers are healthy, they can do that to every team in the sport.
What are you watching these days? What's on Netflix that's fun? What are you watching?
Well, if I may continue just a second down that point, I don't know how excited you were about this portion of it, but the idea that they have a coach who up or down 23-17, 4th and 1 at their own 19-yard line, that the play before that they would throw deep because they knew they were going for it on 4th and 1, that they have the confidence of knowing, we can get a yard against anyone and throw for it. We're not even going to run for it because we know you cannot guard all our people if we give them some options. Like I just felt the whole thing was in good hands. And to answer your other question, what I've been watching a lot of is HBO Max, just documentaries. And
when is Secession coming out again? Come on.
That is a good question. When is it? Is it January? Is it?
I don't know.
Month?
I got Joy Taylor watching it right now for the very first time, so I'm very jealous of her because I wish I was watching it for the first time.
You're just somebody who does that show on Sundays. You make sure not to miss it. You don't wait. You get near your television. That's one of those for you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. And it's the weird thing where I have to watch the intro. I can't skip through the opening song. I don't know. It's a weird, I have to watch the instrumental intro. It puts me in it's like a hypnotic trance I'm in.
I think you're strange. I thought you were strange before we did this. I've thought you're strange the entire time I've known you. And
what a show.
The need to watch. I agree with you. What a show. I have no need to watch the intro to Succession. I'm fine hitting. I think one of the greatest television, one of the greatest inventions across not just entertainment, but the world is the ability to click on my Apple remote. And
I don't hit that skip button. I don't hit it. I got
things to do. That's 90 seconds I could spend somewhere else later in the day, the following day. I don't need to watch that intro.
Dan, excellent job. Tell everyone again how they can come hang out with you guys on Saturday nights.
Happy to see your face, ZASLOW. I am happy that you will be there on Saturday night. And the answer to your question is MossLebatard.com. I'd get in there now, the people listening to this, because I don't think there are going to be tickets left day of. So MossLebatard.com is where you go.
Is there anyone part of your crew that the listeners have been instructed to not look at in the eyes, not look directly at when they see them?
Yes, Mike Ryan is promising that at some point this evening to one special lucky listener, he will look them in the eye.
Wow.
Yes, that the gift that he will be giving is intimate human contact, where he pays you the respect of not being cold and aloof, and he simply looks you in the eye.
Great job, Dan. Appreciate you hanging out with us here. Thank you, pal.
Always good seeing you, Zaz.